And what a game in the NBA as the Western Conference Finals saw Dallas grab home court with a win in game one. And little defense here. Ant with the block, heads the other way. Gobert gets away with a little bit of a shove. He drops a hammer, and the Timberwolves are up by 4. Then Ant, corner 3. That's cash. He had 10 in the first quarter. The Wolves had a 6-point lead. Now it's a double-digit lead after. Mike Conley buries that. Building's going nuts. Naz Reid, that's your man, Stanford Steve.
Sure is.
He was incredible. The 6th man of the year, 4 of 4 from 3 in the first half. And again, all 3 of these. And the Wolves have a double-digit lead at the half. It's a dozen. But in the second half, Dallas stays in the fight. There's Luka to Derek Lively, the second. Then it's Doncic. Step back. Remember that spot and that shot. It's now an 8-point lead. Luka probing the defense, little floater. He hits that. Little chit-chat. 11 points, 3 assists in the third. It's all of a sudden a 7-point game. Last dozen minutes. It feels like it's going to be a great one. It was. Kyrie, huge 3. The lead is 4. 2-point game off the turnover. Lively hits the deck to corral. Kyrie. Naz dropped his hands for just a second, and Dallas has the lead for the first time since the early going. Tie game. Woo, 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 outlet. Come on. What is that? Gafford grabs it and somehow gets the layup to go. Then Naz, who'd gone crazy from 3, down the lane with the big finish. We're tied. 1-point lead for the home team. There goes Ant on the drive, off glass. Wolves push the lead to 3. Next Mavericks possession. Kyrie kind of lost it in midair, but still, you'll see a better look at it here as he just loses the ball, but is able to get it up in the air. The lob game for the Mavericks is spectacular. Lively gets the slam. Kyrie missed a couple of free throws, then hits that 3 to cut the deficit to 2 in the late going. After a miss on the other end, Ant gets caught in midair, looking for Naz, throws it out of bounds. So now Dallas down 2. Luka sizing up Gobert. Everybody in the building's got to know what's coming. It's a step back 3, bottoms. And Luka is roaring in the face of Gobert. And what he said was, if you saw it, it was pretty spicy, but he was right. There you go. You can't bleep and guard me. Home team's got a chance. Ant with the ball on the drive, the kick to Naz, who had 7 threes. No! And after an 18-point deficit is erased, Luka with the 3 to give Dallas the 1-point lead.
Yeah, that was unreal. Down by 2 with 12 seconds to go. Was the game plan drawn up for you to hit that 3, and did you just have the utmost confidence that you would make it?
Yeah, I have all the confidence in the world. I have a great team behind me. They support me every time, and we just can't. I mean, we just roll together, man.
Down by 18 at its worst tonight. What impresses you most about what you guys were able to do, especially in that second half?
It's our DNA. We stay together, positive. Nobody had the head down. Everybody was positive. So that's our DNA. Just stay together and keep going. It's a long game.
As a whole, though, does it ever surprise you what the team is capable of doing when, the game is on the line, to go up 2-0 in a series like this and win both games on the road?
It's insane, especially here. It's tough to play here. Tough team to beat. You really have to play amazing to beat them. So it's amazing that we won 2 games here, but we ain't done nothing, man. We just gotta go home and think of the next game.
Unbelievable. And now you do get to go home, sleep in your own bed, get to play 2 games on your home floor. What's the mindset as you head back to Dallas for games 3 and 4?
Play with the same mentality. No matter if we're up, if we're down, play with the same mentality. play hard, and try to win the game.
Luka, thank you so much. We'll see you in Dallas.
Thank you.
Exactly where they just put Denver in the last series, right? Down 0-2 and having to hit the road. You see the largest comebacks. Luka's three-pointer capped that 18-point comeback, which ties for their third largest in the last quarter century in the playoffs. Also ties for the third largest by any team in the playoffs this year. Dallas up 2-0, back home Sunday for Game 3. Chris Finch asked about the end game.
Chris, just what did you see there in the last couple of minutes down the stretch that kicked
two
us away?
turnovers again. Ball got static. That's on me in the sense that I should have called the timeout to get Mike back in the game on that second to last possession for us or whatever. So I'll take that one. It's on me. But yeah, just kind of ball got static. Just turn it over. Same story as the other night. 2 turnovers in the guts of the game. Not going to get it done.
What was your thought process in not calling a timeout there?
I just said I should have called it. So, but I thought the ball was in Ant's hands. The differential in the clock wasn't huge. But I initially wanted to call it, but I didn't. So.
And then with Luka with the ball in his hands late there, do you think about doubling at that time and get it out, or how do you see that unfold?
No, the idea was to switch up, press him inside the 3-point line. So.
Danny Green joins us now to discuss. You've lived both sides of this, right? The joy of the comeback and the despair of the loss. You got the rings to prove that on the good side. When Minnesota looks back at how that 18-point lead evaporated in the end game, and you just heard Coach Finch talking about some of the things he wished he'd have done different. Where do they kick themselves here, Danny?
Well, he said turnovers. I think rebounding hurt them a lot. Lively, Gafford at the rim, scoring a bunch of his lobs. But ultimately, they're fatigued, man. It's very evident. Karl-Anthony Towns, he didn't play a lot before. I think they could have played him and Naz Reid together more. But Anthony Edwards is just fatigued. I've seen it in the first half, seen it a lot in the second half. And it may not just be all physical, but mentally. These mistakes he normally doesn't make, he doesn't have. And he plays usually more aggressive. I think in that fourth quarter, he was a little more passive than I would liked him to be. Naz Reid was exceptional tonight, making shots for them, keeping them in the game. But Ant Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns are the guys that most nights are the stars show up. And tonight, and in game 1 also, they haven't played them like themselves as of late.
Well, what's the saying? Fatigue makes cowards of us all. And this is a young team, and Ant is a young man. And, he's made a run deeper than he's been so far. Still steps to take. Luka's just 25. But, man, he's one of those guys, Danny, I feel like we've been living with him for many years because we have. But what kind of steps are we seeing him taking on the biggest stages in the sport of becoming like the guy?
Huge. But this is something we've seen from him before. This is nothing new. He's been doing this since he's gotten into the league, and I think each year he's getting better and better. But I give a lot of this to Kyrie and just the maturity, the testament of Kyrie's been there. I think this was a game of wills. Him and Kai stepped up big in the fourth quarter. Kai hit a lot of threes, a lot of shots. Obviously, he got the switch at the end with Rudy. But those two guys, they have more experience than Minnesota, and so this was a game of wills. They're both fatigued. Both teams are fatigued, but these guys outlasted Minnesota in that fourth quarter, and they just made the right plays, made the big plays, and made the shots. Minnesota didn't.
Yeah, and ultimately that's the league, and they always say it, right? It's a make-miss league. And I'm shaking my head when you were saying we've seen this, because we have, but not, Luka and the Mavs are 2 wins away from getting to the chance to play for the chip. So I think a win like this just feels like it changes. Is he a star? Of course, he's been a star. I just feel like nights like this, like you live this league, right? This is when legends start to really get cemented, don't they?
100%. And he's doing it on the biggest stage, one of the biggest stages in basketball, and showing the reason why he's All-NBA 5 times. And he's only been in the league, 6 years?
Right.
So he's amazing, man. He's been doing it. He's been doing it for a while. He's able to do it on this level. His teammates are playing extremely well. But he said that just maturity of him and Kai saying, we're up 2-0 right now, but we haven't done anything yet. We still have to go home, protect home court. So these guys are ready to play, man. They're playing extremely well. And said Minnesota, as good as they are, I think said this is a maturity issue or lack thereof, and they're showing some signs of losing some confidence.
I asked Luka the other night, Danny, about Kyrie, and It's funny, right? He's only 32, but like in the league now, that makes you an old head, right? That makes you the old guy. Maybe a couple of grays up top, but he's got the experience. He's been through everything you can see this time of year. How are we seeing his imprint and his impact on Dallas in the most important moments of these games?
Just seeing how locked in they are. You know, the guys around him, he's getting them. Even though Luka made that big three, he's telling them, you know, the celebration, we stopped it quick. We need one stop. There's still 3 seconds left. There's a lot of time left. He did miss some free throws. He did apologize for it at the end of the game.
Right,
but he made some big shots. He made some big shots at the end. He made some big threes, defensive plays. But he's ultimately getting those guys ready and focused and locked in for whatever is coming. So for them to win 2 games on the road, it just shows him and said Luka's wills and their experience over this young Minnesota team, and just the mental fortitude. People don't understand how tiring it is to just go through a season, but also the playoffs. Sure. It's not just physically, you know, draining, but mentally, emotionally. You could just see it within Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns. They had emotional high beating Denver. Right now, I don't know if they'd be able to, you know, bounce back from that.
All right, I want to close with this. All of us and everybody out there watching, we've all got our text threads with our boys. Yours just happen to have, I'm sure, NBA stars in them. I'm wondering, Danny, is this the kind of game that has you texting back and forth with whoever, and I'm not asking, but is this the kind of game and the kind of performance that you're just like, damn, like, that's got to be, right?
Yeah, this changed the series for me. I think a lot of people, most people, and I think Dallas heard, they picked Minnesota to win this series. After winning this game, I know it's only game 2, but this changes everybody's opinion on how the series turns out. Minnesota may win 1 in Dallas, but I don't see them winning 4 straight or beating Dallas to getting 4 wins. And nobody predicted this. This was why we love the game of basketball so much. And this year has been the most unpredictable year of the playoffs, and why people love watching the game. So who would have thought Dallas would beat Minnesota and be in the finals? I'm not saying that it's done already, but most people predicting that after this game, after this win.
Not the guys on my text thread, not the guys on your text thread, not any of us watching. It's remarkable. That's the star performances from 2 great players and really a team that's ascending here in Dallas. Danny, I appreciate the time and the conversation always. Dallas wins the first 2 on the road in a playoff series for the 3rd time in franchise history. They did it in 21 against the Clips, series they went on to lose. 2011 against the Lakers en route to winning the title. Wait, let me just do this. It's been a while.
Oh! Shut it down!
Shout to Dirk. Meanwhile, Jason Kidd on this one.
Was the plan to go for the win and not even to play for overtime, or was the plan just to get the best shot available?
Now you gotta ask Luka that. The play was to get Luka the ball and let Luka do what Luka does in those moments, and that's, you know, if he has trust with his teammates. If they were going to come and hit him, he knew who he was going to find to knock down a shot. We talked about taking a 2. We're only down 2, but when he got to dancing with Gobert, you could see that the step back was coming, and the rest was history.
Guard you, huh?
Sorry?
He can't effing guard you?
Who said that?
You said that.
I didn't say that. I was speaking Slovenian.
Brad Windhorst joins us. You speak Slovenian too a little bit, right? A little bit?
I apparently speak Slovenian. I didn't know that, but now I do. And
Yeah,
I got to tell you, I've seen Luka talk trash talk in many different languages, and I feel like I can understand them all, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think there's a universal sort of appeal to that particular message he delivered tonight. You were in the Wolves locker room after an 18-point lead on a Friday night in a game they had to have evaporated. How do you frame what you saw and heard?
Yeah, they were trying to put a brave face on it because they obviously won 3 road games in the last round, but underneath the surface, there was agony, Scott. There was agony from Chris Finch because he didn't call a timeout there. He had 2 timeouts left when they got that last stop with 24 seconds left, and Mike Conley's on the bench. He should call timeout there. Ant gets stuck, makes an unforced turnover. He feels bad because they were in the defense they wanted. They were in the switch defense at that last possession with Luka. They thought they were going to bait Luka into going to the basket where they could give help defense. And Luka obviously didn't. He got the Gobert switch and went at it. Naz Reid is frustrated because he loved the way that shot felt. They actually like the way that last play went, and he missed it. Karl Towns is frustrated because he goes 4 of 16 and gets benched in a vitally important game. And Ant, quite frankly, Ant was trying to make him sound that he was okay and had confidence, but I've been around him enough to know that he was hurting. And if you look at these last 5 games, he's in a slump. He's in a slump at the worst time. He is 30 of his last 90. Kent State, they taught me that was 33%. That is difficult to get through in this situation, and he just isn't making fast decisions. He got stuck on that last possession. They really needed it from him there. So this is really tight, this series. 2 one-possession losses at home, and the Wolves feel like they see mistakes everywhere, and they're hurting right now.
You know, it's wild, Wendy, is like we follow the Rangers' victory and they win in overtime on a goal. And so instead, their series is 1-1. And the entire world looks different as a result. Nas hit 7 threes tonight. He was great, and that's a clean look. And as we just showed, it rattles in and out, right? The whole world looks different if they get it, but they don't. And so now Dallas gets to go back home. They've won these 2, and if they're creating a blueprint, a formula that they're going to lean into in these coming games, what is it?
Okay, so they got their 2 guards just making clutch plays. We saw Luka. He's been great in the fourth quarter of both of these games, delivered clutch shots. Kyrie delivers that clutch shot from the corner, and their pogo stick big men are causing all kinds of problems at both ends for Dallas, for Minnesota. That's what they're going to do. And look, it's hard to say that you could expect Dallas to try to win 2 at home when we've seen 2 skin-tight games. But if they can somehow get 2 games in Dallas, Scott, the final start June 6th, come hell or high water. That means that they would have a week off because the thing is, Luka's knee is not right. You can tell he's not landing on it. He's fighting through it. If they were able to get extra rest before they got to the finals, it would be unbelievable. And stealing this game and opening up the door to try to clinch it at home is putting that light at the end of the tunnel. And so it would be foolish to think that it's going to be easy because these games have been hard. But that is now on the table for the Mavericks, and that's got to be something that they keep in the back of their mind.
He's a 25-year-old guy. The story is still early in terms of being written. But a night like tonight, a shot like tonight, Brian, where's that go in his book at the moment, so to speak?
The thing about it is he wants it.
Yeah.
And you saw his mastery in that moment because even though he looks like a lumbering guy, he's an incredible finesse player. He has brilliant footwork, and he wants those moments. So you put him in that moment when he is armed with the ability to drive, with the ability to pass, with the ability to put the Defensive Player of the Year on skates. You're getting him in a spot where he can display what he's been working on for his whole career. And that's what we do this for. We want to see those moments, and he delivers it. And his confidence level is very, very high. The Mavericks' confidence level is very, very high. And to steal these 2 games here in this building, it's the biggest wins that they've had since 2011. This is an opportunity now that they've been trying to get to for years, and that they were dreaming of when they made that Kyrie Irving trade, when they made those trades at midseason. This team has really come together fast, but come together very well. They got something really special going on here.
He said goodnight to Minneapolis and Slovenia, and I'd say it to you, but I think maybe I'll say see you next time, Wendy. I always appreciate you being with us. You're the best.
Thank you, Scott.
Joined now by P.J. Washington. He and the Dallas Mavericks head home up 2 games to none. P.J., you all are down 18 points. That building's on fire on a Friday night. You don't blink. What did your group find in the second half, and particularly in the closing minutes, to get out of there with a 2-0 lead?
Well, we just decided to stick together. I mean, we were all we had out here. We just tried to keep fighting, try to continue to get stops, and just play our basketball. We knew if we could open shots, we would have a chance to get back in the game.
Speaking of open shots, Nas was in his bag tonight. He had 7 threes. Ant dishes to him. Nothing anybody can do except see if it goes in or not. What are you thinking as you're watching that shot that either beats you or you win? What goes through the mind?
Man, I was praying he missed it. I mean, he had a great night tonight. He was hitting pretty much every shot. Right. So I was just praying he missed that one.
PJ, I wonder, when you win the first game and grab home court, as you all did, does it create a freedom where in this game, I don't want to say house money, because obviously you want to win, but because you already got that first one, it takes away any freedom of consequence and just lets you play. Is there something to that?
No, sir. I mean, we know how good this Minnesota team is, and we didn't want to give them any energy. We wanted to come out with the same effort tonight, and we tried to come out and just attack and make them be on their heels on the defensive end.
The other night I asked Luka about Kyrie, and I could ask you about Kyrie too, and I will in a minute, but I'm going to ask you about Luka. He's got the Defensive Player of the Year in his face. He does his thing, hits a three, and he's roaring in his face, letting him know you can't check me. How do you describe what Luka gives you guys night in and night out, and specifically tonight at the end?
It's just magic. I mean, it's Luka magic. He's special on both ends of the floor. He can do pretty much everything with the basketball. So, I mean, at the end of the game with the ball in his hands, we have all the confidence in him to do what he does, and I'm just happy he made that shot. And obviously, we're happy we're going back to Dallas 2-0.
All right, last thought. I do want to ask about Kyrie because he was so impactful in so many ways. Luka was talking the other night about how much they lean into his experience. I just wonder, PJ, how you would frame what Kyrie provides your group.
He's been there before. I mean, he's a leader for us. He pretty much keeps us calm in every situation. We know he's always going to have encouraging words to say, and he's always there for all of us. So it's just great having a guy like that, having someone that's been there, and obviously a guy like Kyrie. I mean, he's a special guy, and obviously we love playing with him, and we're just glad he's on our team.
No doubt. That's exactly what Luka said the other night. Game 3 Sunday, I imagine, PJ, I don't know when y'all are going back home, but that's going to be one happy flight. What a comeback, man. Congratulations. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.